Good evening. Welcome to the Budget Finance Committee's April 4th meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order. First on our agenda is approval of the minutes of the March 21st meeting.
I move approval of the minutes for March 21st.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on that? All those in favor? Any opposed? Bob, I'm going to need a verbal yay or nay for you. The motion is to approve the minutes. Bob, did you hear the motion, Bob?
No, they just turned on the sound so we can hear you now.
Okay. We had a vote for all those in favor of the minutes.
Could I ask who made the motion and who seconded, please?
Karen made the motion.
It's fine, Deanna.
Deanna made the second.
Thank you.
And the minutes are approved. We will start in with the budget as proposed by the Select Board. What I'm going to ask, I'm going to read the whole article through. At that point, I will ask for a motion and a second. Following that, we will have a discussion. And after discussion is complete, we will vote on the article. Any questions on that? All right. Article 3, referendum question A. To see if the town will vote to, 1, set the date of the first half taxes due to October 31st, 2023, and the second half of taxes due to April 30th, 2024. 2, to set the interest rate for unpaid balances and for abated taxes at 8% for the fiscal year. 3, authorize a tax collector or treasurer to accept payments of taxes not yet committed pursuant to 36 MRSA subsection 506 with no interest. And 4, authorize the Select Board on behalf of the town to sell and dispose of any property acquired by the town for non-payment of taxes pursuant to the policy adopted by the Select Board. As may be amended from time to time, the policy to remain consistent with the main statutes and laws. In all cases, conveyance to be made by municipal quitclaim deed.
I move Article 3.
Thank you, Karen.
Second.
Thank you, Bob. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you, Bob. That's unanimous. Article 4, referendum question B, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $2,396,021 for general government services, which includes administration, compensation and training, insurances, worker comp and benefits, assessing, code enforcement, recreation, technology, and general assistance. The budget figures will be assigned as follows. Administration, $557,487. Compensation and training, $75,000. Insurances, workers' comp, and benefits, $1,049,861. Assessing, $83,437. Code enforcement, $225,892. Recreation, $163,084. Technology, $226,260. And general assistance, $15,000.
I move Article 4.
Thank you, Karen.
Second.
Thank you, Bob. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? The motion carries. Article 5, referendum question C, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $1,419,640 for public works. The budget figures will be assigned as follows. Public Works, $930,356. Town Buildings, $46,000. Solid Waste, $398,100. And cemeteries, $45,184.
I move Article 5.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion is unanimous. Article 6, referendum question D, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $1,281,432 for public safety. The budget figures will be assigned as follows. Fire Rescue Department, $1,239,271. Animal Control, $42,161.
I move Article 6.
Second.
Thank you, Bob. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of recommending Article 6? Any opposed? Motion carries. Article 7, referendum question E, to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to dispose of town-owned personal property with value not to exceed $75,000.
I move Article 7.
Second.
Thank you, Bob. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Unanimous. Article 8, referendum question F, to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to appropriate from the undesignated fund balance or surplus to meet the unanticipated needs of the community that occur during the fiscal year and/or to adjust the tax rate as the select board deem advisable, an amount not to exceed $75,000.
Move Article 8.
Second.
Thank you, Bob. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Unanimous. Article 9, referendum question G, to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to transfer funds between appropriation accounts as long as the grand total of all appropriation is not exceeded. Any such transfer to be approved only at a properly called public meeting of the select board.
I move Article 9.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? The motion is unanimous. Referendum question H, Article 10, to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to allow town staff to make application for and execute any documents related to a grant, accept or reject grants, donation, and/or gifts of money to the town of Raymond, and authorize the expenditure of monies awarded, donated, and/or gifted for the purposes of specified in the grant, donation, and/or gift.
I move Article 10.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? None opposed, unanimous. Article 11, referendum question I.
This is the one we're doing next week, so you can skip over that one.
All right. Article 12, referendum question J. To see if the town will vote to appropriate $312,730 from the tax increment of the Pipeline Route 302 Tax Increment Financing District for fiscal year 2022, 2023, project proposal in the Tax Increment Financing District Development Program.
I move Article 12.
Second?
Thank you. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I believe that should be for FY '23-24.
Yep.
I was wondering about that. You get that, Sue?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I missed that.
For 2023 to 2024. Can I have a motion, please?
I move Article 12 with the correction of 2023 and 2024.
Thank you.
Second?
Thank you, Bob. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Article 13, referendum question K. See if the town will vote to appropriate from the Tasseltop Park Enterprise Fund the amount of $153,355 for the administration of activities at the park and to allocate all revenues generated by park operations to be recorded in and retained by the Tasseltop Park Enterprise Fund.
I move Article 13.
Second?
Thank you. Any discussion?
Just one question.
Yes.
The fund, does that build up? Is there a balance that wasn't in the notes anywhere?
I don't know.
In other words, it says it's going to stay in the fund. Is that spent every year, or is there any kind of build-up?
No, it's a revolving account, so it does hold a surplus amount of funds.
Okay, so it's never a solid fund. It just changes by whatever you're doing. That's what you're saying. You don't have an average that carries over.
No, yeah, it carries over, but budgeting wise, yeah, we take what that fiscal year is. So that's the revenues that we'll bring in or expend.
And you spend most of it anyway, regardless, right?
Yeah, it's probably have a profit of about 5 to 15,000 depending on the year.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Any opposed? I see none. Motion carries unanimously. Article 14, referendum question L, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $341,501 for debt services. The budget figures will be assigned as follows. The 2013 Public Works Road Construction Bond, $207,500. 2015 bond payment, $87,550. And 2022 lease purchase rescue pumper truck, $46,451.
I move Article 14.
Thank you, Karen.
Second?
Thank you, Bob. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Article 15, referendum question M, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $161,403 for the Raymond Village Library.
I move Article 15.
Second?
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Article 16, referendum question N, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $1,010,000 for the capital improvement program. The budget figures will be assigned as follows. Public Works Equipment Reserve, $225,000. Public Works Paving Road Reserve, $410,000. Municipal Facilities Improvements, $85,000. Technology, $100,000. Revaluation reserve, $80,000. Public safety fire apparatus, $75,000. And playground improvements, $35,000.
I move Article 16.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Then all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Article 17, referendum question O, to see whether the town will vote to carry forward any existing fund balance in the capital improvement program accounts, the healthcare reimbursement accounts, and the employee compensation account.
I move Article 17.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have one question.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm still interested, I know it's another percent, but the non-public safety members' pension, I'm curious how much is being carried forward out of these accounts. I mean, I know part of it's health insurance and it rolls into the health insurance plan and all the other things, but is there a certain amount that usually carries over?
I can tell you, we did the HRA's account, we looked at the last 3 years, and we spend approximately 40% of that in a year. The employee compensation account, we used 100% last year. And CIP, that would be more of a Charisse, I'm not sure how much. I know the fire department, the 75 goes for an ambulance.
Yeah, they've been rotating that every year, though, right?
Right.
I mean, I was more interested in if there was enough money, and maybe we could get the retirement for the non-public safety. That's what I was looking for. That's 60 grand roughly. So that doesn't sound like there's going to be that much. But it varies every year. The answer is it varies.
Yeah. The average was 40% on the HRA was used for the past 3 years.
Any other questions? All those in favor of Article 17? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Article 18, referendum question P, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $974,325 for the county tax, $80,574 is the first of 5 annual non-interest payments for 6 months of taxes, January to June 23rd, and $893,751 is for the fiscal year July 2023 to June 2024 taxes, enabling the Cumberland County to move from a calendar year to a fiscal year assessment.
I move Article 18.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions?
I have a
Comments?
question.
Go ahead, Karen.
Where is this number over here? 974,325.
Where it is on your pink sheet?
Yeah, where is it on the pink sheet?
It's another department, so it's the county tax, which is a separate article. This pink sheet is just town departments.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Article 19, referendum question K, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $1,000 for provider agencies.
I move Article 19.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? Kathy?
Just so people know, there was more money slotted for the provider agencies, but we moved some of it to the CIP. So that's why that number's decreased.
No, we moved it to TIF.
To TIF, thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All those in favor of the article? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Article 20, referendum question R, to see if the town will vote to appropriate the total of $1,837,020 from estimated non-property tax revenues to reduce the property tax commitment, together with all categories of funds which may be available from the federal government and any other sources.
I move Article 20.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 20? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Article 21, referendum question S, to see if the town will vote to accept certain state funds as provided by the Maine State Legislature during the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2023, and any other funds provided by any other entity, including but not limited to municipal revenue sharing, local road assistance, emergency management assistance, snowmobile registration money, homestead exemption, tree growth reimbursement, general assistance reimbursement, veterans exemption reimbursement, business equipment tax exemption reimbursement, and state grant or other funds.
I move Article 21.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Article 22, referendum question T, to see if the town will vote to authorize the use of town employees and/or town-owned equipment or independent contractors hired by the town for maintenance on private roads in special and certain circumstances where in the public's interest.
I move Article 22.
Second.
Any comments, questions? All those in favor of Article 22? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Article 23, referendum question U, LD1, to see if the town will vote to increase the property tax levy limit of $3,630,036.38 established for the town of Raymond by state law in the event that the municipal budget approved under the preceding articles will result in a tax commitment that is greater than the property tax levy limit.
I move Article 23.
Second.
Any questions on that? All those in favor of Article 23? Any opposed? The motion carries. All right, this is a lengthy one. Article 24, referendum question V, to see if the town of Raymond will vote to join the Maine...
You don't need to read that one. That's ordinances.
No, that's the main PERS.
The shoreline zoning one?
No,
Article 24.
Oh,
is main PERS.
you slipped it in there because mine, Article 24 is shoreline zoning.
Oh, yes, it was added after. Yes,
Okay.
there are two articles.
All right. Sorry about that.
And Mr. Chair, one of the pieces of Article 24 in Section D, that's been changed today. It should read to authorize the town manager to sign and not have his name in there.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
that's not a good sign.
Well, he had surgery today, so
I'll continue the article.
sorry about that.
To see if the town of Raymond will vote to join the Maine Public Employees Retirement System Maine PERS as a participating local district effective September 1st, 2023. And A, to offer Special Plan 3C to its regular full-time firefighters and emergency medical services employees who are paid at least 2,080 hours per year between hours worked, paid vacation, paid holiday, and paid sick time. And B, to exclude all other employees, including all other elected appointed officials, from participating in Maine PERS. And C, to allow its eligible employees who are currently employed by the town on September 1st, 2023, who elect to join Maine PERS, the option to purchase prior service upon the employee's full payment of all associated costs. The town will not participate in the purchase of prior service, and so employees who wish to purchase prior service are responsible for paying the full liability associated with this service. And D, to authorize the town manager to sign the agreement between the town and the Maine Public Employees Retirement System. And E, to adopt the provisions of 5 MRS subsection 18252/C as enacted by PL 2021, Chapter 286, as allowed by Maine PERS, Rule Chapter 803, for non-participating employees or optional membership who decline to participate in Maine PERS when first eligible, and comply with the following requirements. A, beginning in 2024, to annually offer eligible employees who have been employed for less than 5 years the opportunity to join Maine PERS on a prospective basis during an open enrollment period from September 1st through November 1st, and to provide Maine PERS with documentation of each election made by eligible employees under this provision. And B, to withhold employee contributions for employees who join under this provision on an after-tax basis and to remit them to Maine PERS.
I move Article 24.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, I do. As usual, I know they were going to check to make sure that the non-special plan people could join a year later. I know they're talking about trying to do that next year if it's feasible. Personally, I'd like to see it done this year for the extra 1%. You know, I really don't like the idea of some people getting and some people not. And who knows what tomorrow, next year will bring. It's only 1% more, it'd be 7%. But we're a budget committee and we get to decide whether we feel that all the employees deserve it or not, and I think they do. We've got people who've been here 20, 30 years like Nathan. There's just a lot of people here that have been loyal to this town, and I'd like to see the pension for them too. It's 1%. The budget committee can recommend it. Be different than the select board.
If I may, Mr. Chair,
Yes, please.
because the question is being voted on a ballot, the budget committee can't recommend a different amount than the select board. They can either recommend the question or not recommend the question. At open town meeting, you can recommend something different downward, but you can never recommend upward.
Right.
But on a ballot, there is no discussion. There isn't any, I want to make the motion to change the amount.
So it hasn't gone to ballot yet. I thought if we voted to put it in there, then they'd have a choice. It hasn't gone
No,
to
I
ballot
mean,
yet.
this warrant article is going to be voted on a ballot on June 13th.
Correct. I'd just like to add a ballot, add a article, or that would say that the taxpayers agree to pay the $60,000 for the just add it at the end of this. So that would be difficult to do?
Well, it wouldn't be difficult, but it is the select board's warrant, so the select board would have to agree to add a warrant article.
Right. That's what I guess what I'm proposing is we recommend at the next meeting the select board consider that. right?
We already have. I mean, you can make a recommendation to not recommend the article.
But nothing's going to change because you guys decided all that stuff
Yep.
over the phone.
Not over the phone.
Warrants all came out. Okay. I guess there's nothing I can do about it then.
Well, if you want to write a check for 60,000, we have.
No, I would have liked to have the input before the warrant was written. That happened between the meetings. The articles came out, and it was a select board meeting. We didn't get to vote at that meeting last time around when you guys voted. We didn't have a chance to vote on these matters.
Well, it was a selectmen meeting.
Correct.
Right.
Right.
So you react to what the selectmen put forward. So,
I'd like it to be in the minutes, if nothing else. Well, I guess
Well, we
it's-
can either vote in favor of the warrant, or we can vote against the
I'm not
warrant.
going to vote against people getting it. I was looking to add to it.
Understood.
All right.
And you do have a motion on the floor, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to recommend Article 24. Any other questions? All those in favor of Article 24? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Article 25. Question, referendum question W. Shall the town of Raymond, or the town, number one, approve a capital project consisting of the construction of a public works garage, tennis courts, vendor booth, bathroom facilities, and a maintenance building, including engineering and design costs, transaction costs, and other expenses reasonably related to the project. Appropriate the sum of $4,500,000 plus any additional premium to provide the cost of the project. 3, authorize the town treasurer and the chair of the select board to issue general obligation securities of the town, including temporary notes in anticipation of the sale thereof, in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $4,500,000 plus any additional premium to fund the project. And 4, delegate the town treasurer and the chair of the select board the authority and discretion to fix the dates, maturities, interest rates, denominations, call for redemption with or without premium form, and other details of said securities, including authority to execute and deliver the securities on behalf of the town. The financial statement, total bond indebtedness, bonds outstanding and unpaid, $570,000. Bonds authorized and unissued, other than this loan, $0. Maximum amount to be issued if approved, $4,500,000. Costs, at an estimated minimum interest rate of 3.25% for a 15-year maturity, the estimated cost of this bond will be for principal, $450,000, interest, $1,128,750, for a total of $5,628,750. And 3, validity. The validity of the bonds and the voters' ratification of the bonds may not be affected by any error in the above estimates. If the actual amount of the total debt service varies from the estimates, the ratification by the voters is nevertheless conclusive, and the validity of the bond issue is not affected by reason of the variance.
I move Article 25, and I'd like to speak to my motion.
Second.
Thank you. Go ahead, Karen.
Okay, for clarification, I would like to know if any quotes have been received for the construction of the Public Works garage.
No, they have not.
Are any solicitations being prepared for quotes on the project for a rough order of magnitude or a request for a proposal?
No, there isn't.
So if this goes to the voters, and the voters vote to, they're in the booth and they're going to approve this, they're going to expect that the town has proposed quotes or estimates on the proposal, correct?
The plan is by the time we go to that point, we will have, we'll have engineering plans and a rough estimate of the quote of what we're going to do. We won't be out to bid by then.
So we're asking the voters of Raymond to approve a Public Works garage, and we have no quotes.
That is correct. I asked for a budget. We got a budget, and that's where we're going to start with it. I've got a budget. I've got a meeting Thursday with the engineers, and we're going to start there.
So will the quotes be listed on the warrant article? On the ballot?
Not normally. It'll be the finished, the cost of the building. We wouldn't put the quotes of all the participating vendors out there for the public. It'll be, we got 3.5 million. We've got a number now, so now I can build a square footage to the building to what we need. We needed a number to start with. I didn't want to go build a $5 million building and spend that much money getting the quotes, getting everything done. Here's a $4 million building, and have the selectmen say no. So I asked for the money first to see where we were at, what they would tolerate, and they said 3.5, and now we're going to go forward and build a building to fit that number.
So your plan is to, if the estimates come in over the 3.5, you will reduce the scale of the project to meet the 3.5?
Correct. That is correct.
So it's a not to exceed?
That is correct.
Well, that's not absolutely true. If I may jump in here.
Yep. Okay.
Just because you get approval to issue a bond doesn't mean you're going to issue it. This is just the preliminary step of going, okay, we now have authority to go to $3.5 million on a bond. If he goes out and finds plans that are $5 million, we may say, okay, we're not going to issue a $3.5 million bond for a $5 million building. So we may come back to the town and say we need another $1.5 million bond on top of the 3.5 that hopefully gets approved. Just because you have the authority, you have 10 years to issue that bond. You don't have to do it right away. And the only reason we thought it was good timing is when you look at our debt service, how small it is. We're going to be retiring 2 bonds, and we'll free up some cash flow right there. So it's a matter of getting town approval to move forward. That's all we're asking.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
So, I mean, it could come in at, $4 million, and the town can say, hey, we got $500,000 in undesignated fund balance. We'll take the $3.5 million and use $500,000. So there are multiple ways of doing this.
Okay.
Dennis?
I understand the reason for the bond coming up and tying it up into this so you can get it done. But $250 a square foot was my objection, and that process was my objection or my frustration. I actually know that both these bonds have merit. There's no doubt that Public Works is ready for a modern facility, and certainly this town's been ready for recreation for a long time, so I'm really excited that that's moving forward. The reason I was a little frustrated is I was surprised how quickly it came on to the table where, as far as I was concerned, there was time to do a cost analysis to do it right. 250 is not going to, that's affordable housing right now. So in my opinion, it's going to be a lot more than that when you do all the necessary sprinklers and the infrastructure. But still, I'd love to see a really good Public Works building, not not one with vinyl siding and asphalt roofs like we had. I mean, it's really important to do that cost analysis. I like what you said, that you'd come back and probably put more money in. And I'm for both of these projects. I personally wish you had split them, and I would recommend splitting them so the people, the taxpayers, can decide on one, both, or neither. It's how we work in America. You know, you don't combine. You can always combine the bond later, but quite frankly, I know there's merit in both of these. But Nathan, I knew that you didn't say it was an emergency, and you weren't pushing this in the beginning of the budget. That's why I wasn't attacking you or Public Works. I was simply saying I don't think there's enough money.
So before I came to the selectmen, I did quite a bit of legwork on my own. Town of Harrison's project's $3.4 million. That's 100 by 150 by 150 foot building, 15,000 square feet. That's $230 a square foot. They're starting that next week. Town of Gloucester's project was $4.6 million. That was 100 by 185, 18,500 square feet, plus 12,000 square foot sand salt building. That came in at $150 a square.
When was that? What year?
2 years ago. The Town of Wyndham's project, now I will say on the New Gloucester project, the salt shed's going to drag that number per square foot down quite a bit. So if you take the salt shed out, we figure around $4 million. That comes in at $233 a square. That was 3 years ago. The Town of Wyndham was $9.6 million.
Recording in progress.
Excellent. The Town of Wyndham's was $9.6 million. That's 24,000 square foot building. Theirs is at $400 a square foot. With that said, their building is a Category 5 hurricane certified. Its offices are Class 1 office space. They've got a top of the line, the best you can possibly get, drive-through car wash. That alone was over $1 million. It's a 2-story building, so they've got 2 elevators in the building. That drove that number to $400 a square. So I called the town engineer because I was worried about these numbers. He said $250 should be fine. And we're going to knock it down.
Owen said $250 is going to be fine?
Steel building. Yeah.
Realistically, when do you think you could break ground?
I'd like to do it tomorrow, but it'll be a year to get everything done. So it'll be the springtime it'll be a year from now before we break ground. If we got everything all together and ready to go, I think I said at one of the selectmen's meetings I could have it ready for the fall, but to be realistic, it would have to be in the spring, so we'd want to put it out to bid September, October, November, somewhere in that area to get your best pricing for a spring start project. That'll get us through the plow season and start in the spring, and then we won't be in each other's way.
I understand you have to put it out to bid and everything, so that would be like a spring to get it ready for the spring. But
Correct.
because of this timeline, does it? I'm fine with the Public Works building, but the number to make sure we're on track, does it make sense to have this for next year with that kind of timeline? Just because I kind of agree, like with the pickleball court and all this kind of rolled into there, like we're voting on an article that has all that in there. And I don't know, does it make sense if it was a year from now to vote on this thing instead of bringing it up now? Because we don't quite know for sure.
I'd refer to Joe for that, but my personal opinion on it is your interest rates right now, that's kind of that's a crap shot. To me, I would want to get it going now. But I'm going to refer to Joe on that one.
You got to have cash to pay for all the engineering that's going to take place, which is part of the bond. So, engineering is probably going to be 60 to 100,000.
What do you think as chairman of the select board? Do you think it would be reasonable to split the two out so people could decide democratically on one, both, or a single? Because
you look at the legislature, it's a bond package, all thrown in.
Right, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, would it be fair and reasonable to split the two out and let people decide one, two, or neither?
It's the same amount of debt no matter how you look at it, so.
But there's no details. We expect to have more details, right?
Well, I mean, how much detail do you want?
Well,
you know what the rec department's asking for, right? Pickleball courts, lights,
they had the estimates of what it was going to cost.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's nothing for their maintenance garage. I understand the urgency and the need. I'm interested in looking at the numbers.
Well, I mean, Nathan has the numbers. If you look at New Gloucester and you look at Harrison, I mean, you can go look at their public safety buildings and see
Yeah,
what they're
but
like.
Those were 2 and 3 years ago,
Right.
and the cost of materials has doubled since COVID.
Triple.
They're starting the Harrison building, I think it was next week or the week after. And I got their breakdown right there. They're actually building their building for $3.4 million. And it's the building alone's only $135 a square foot.
And that's comparable to, I know you had given some numbers, maybe that's comparable to what you want to build.
That's bigger than what we need.
I don't see the separation here for details. I don't see $1 million for rec and 3.5. Am I missing something here?
And
I don't have
Number
the question
one.
in front of me.
Some,
approved capital project consisting of the construction of public works garage, tennis courts.
Right. It doesn't separate them out as 3.5 for public works and 1 million for rec. It says 4.5. I don't think that's unreasonable. I mean, you guys decided this after we had our last budget meeting until this one. The warrants came out after that. You guys decided on cutting it from the 8% or whatever down to 6. All we're saying is, let's split them. Give us that much more for the reason we have a budget committee as opposed to the process.
isn't there costs associated with each individual bond to buy the
Yep.
bond and get all that? I think that
You
was
can
part of.
combine them.
What's that?
You can separate out them articles and then combine them in a bond. I
If
know
one
that.
passes and one doesn't this year, and you try to do the second one, you're just going to spend the money for the bond. There's a baseline cost for the bond. So if you put it together as one, you're only going to have that one
And
baseline.
you can do that, even if you vote them separately.
If you vote them separately,
And they
yeah,
both go through, you can still combine them.
right? What,
But what I'm saying is, what if the public didn't want one of them? Why would we want to fund it if they didn't? You know, that's all. I think it's just a reasonable thing to do. I'm asking you your opinion. Do you think it's reasonable?
I think, you know, you can do it either way, but I think combining it into one, you know, package and saying, yeah, this is what we're asking for, $4.5 million in the bond, makes sense.
Does it make sense to split them, though? You're saying it doesn't make sense to split them?
No, I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I'm just saying you don't have to.
I think I'm asking if we can.
Right. The selectmen made a decision to go with one bond package. So, you know, you have every right not to recommend it.
I know that, Joe.
That's your prerogative.
For our input at this stage, we're simply asking questions that might be relative to our thoughts as opposed to the selectmen over the phone.
Why you keep saying over the phone?
You recommended a cut to 6% at the end of a meeting that I
Yeah.
got up and objected to the next time at the select board meeting because all of a sudden it was 6% decided. And the bond was already added in there, decided. This is the first time we've had a debate as a budget committee, and all we're saying is it unreasonable for us to request that of the select board to consider it? And you're saying, no, you think that you've already decided that.
Well, we have decided, but you can bring it up next week. You know, when we have our meeting next Tuesday, you'll be here. You could ask that question at that point. You know, and then the select board can have a discussion.
Dennis,
Yes.
I really take offense to you making this comment twice now.
I don't blame you.
And it's out of line. It really is.
Teresa, there was no discussion after that meeting, and you guys came back with the warrants with
You saying that we're
6%.
making deals behind on phones is out of line.
You agreed to
It really
it.
is. Everything that we're talking about is at the meetings, and you've been to these meetings, but to accuse us of making these deals on the phone, not once, twice, it's got to stop.
The warrants came out with a 6% budget.
That was after we left the meeting and we said.
There was no vote at that meeting. You said it should be 6%.
Right.
No vote. You
That's
came back
correct.
with warrants at 6%.
They came back with proposals and we went over them and we put money back in
You did.
from the cuts that they recommended.
I understand
So
that.
we had a meeting and we discussed it.
The warrants came back out, though, at 6%.
After we discussed what we were going to put back in,
Well, I stand corrected. I thought the warrants were all written, and we looked at them, and it was 6%.
no.
You moved them
No.
around a little bit.
They came in at 8 point, whatever it was,
And Joe said, you need guys. need to go back.
8.77.
Right.
And I said, we'd like to see it under 6.
I understood that.
And then we came back here, we had a discussion. They had a list of, of proposals of what they recommended for cuts.
Correct.
We didn't, and we voted on every single one.
Yes, the Budget Committee did. And now what?
No, the selectmen did.
I mean, Selectmen did, yes.
Right.
Right, and they're now before us, but we have
And then
not
they-
had input on this since that meeting that you guys set these up. That's all I'm saying. That's all I said in the beginning. It was at the end of a meeting, the warrants came back, it was basically 6% at the end of the Select Board meeting, and the bond was in there. And now we're asking for a couple changes to the bond to be split. We can't even do that. You know,
You could recommend or not recommend the bond question. That's the role of the Budget Finance
I
Committee.
agree.
All right? So next week, when we have our meeting, you can say, hey, have you thought about splitting that bond question? We could have that discussion. But right now, there's no way of splitting that question. That's not the question in front of you.
Agree, but this is a time for us to discuss what we want at the next Select Board meeting, correct? What we would recommend, what we would change? Or is it just, you vote on what you guys decided that last meeting? That's what I'm asking, I guess.
Yeah, this meeting, correct me if I'm wrong, is to either recommend or not recommend the warrant articles in front of you.
That's what I thought.
Is it possible, excuse me, is it possible to list on here the expense for the tennis courts and then separate this expense for
Isn't
the,
that in the question?
No.
no,
It should be.
it's not,
I
it's,
agree with that, yeah.
It
Just
should
split
be
it
in the
out, and
question. It should say $1 million for rec and $3.5 million for public works.
agree.
Yeah.
I think it should, but it doesn't.
Well, then it's the wording of the article. Like I said, I don't have it in front of me, so.
All right,
Last page, Joe.
So if we're voting on this, is to vote yes or no as it sits on
As it
paper.
sits right now.
do we have to vote today?
Oh, yeah.
Could we vote on Tuesday with the select board?
Yeah, I mean, we already have an article that we're gonna vote on anyway, so you might as well. you
I
can
believe
wait.
you would have to have enough people.
I'll be there.
Well, they'll have to have enough people anyway because Chairman Goslin agreed to have a kind of a mini Budget Finance Committee meeting at the next Select Board meeting because there is the one article pertaining to the undesignated fund balance that we won't know what that number can be until the auditor reads out what they've got from the last fiscal year.
Yeah, I think it should be broken down as to how much is public works and how much is the, I mean, that's just the wording on the article that needs to be fixed.
That could easily be put in number one,
Yeah.
the first bullet,
Okay.
consisting of 3.5 million for a public works garage and 1 million for the remaining pieces.
Yep.
Okay, I'm good with that.
So the motion on the floor is to recommend Article 25. All those in favor?
Well, wait, I thought we were going to wait and vote on this on Tuesday. Can we do that? Or how do
You'd
we?
have to rescind your motion.
Yeah, you have to withdraw your
Okay,
motion.
I withdraw the motion for Article 25.
Thank you.
You have to withdraw your second.
Yes.
Somebody has to second it.
I
Somebody,
think Bob seconded it.
Bob, would you be willing to withdraw your second?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So we'll review this article at our next meeting.
Yeah, so we have 2 articles, this one and Article 11. Thanks, Ken.
Any other question on the articles? Public comment? Budget Finance Committee comment? I'd like to thank everyone that worked in this committee. You know, we've gotten a lot more input this year than we have in previous years, and it really causes people to be on their toes. So I want to thank you guys. We will be meeting next Tuesday, I believe,
Yep.
5:30.
Yep.
Okay.
We're gonna try and put you guys at the front of the meeting, so we can, there's some commitments, so we'll try and get you out of here
Right.
quickly.
Thank you, Joe.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you very much. Have a good evening.